Buenos tardes, compadres. Welcome back to the stream. Today we're going to do some closing bell arguments. I got my good buddy and close friend Fernando Ramirez on. You want to say
Hey,
what's
what's
up?
going on, everybody?
Yeah. Um, so we'll just jump right into it real quickly. We saw the market go down quite a bit, and it's not where we thought we would end the day. Halfway through the day, I actually thought I'd see a lot more volume pick up throughout the day, but unfortunately, that did not happen. We did see some volume pick up in the second half of the day, a little bit less than what we saw yesterday. However, it was negative volume, so we'll just go right over to the chart and take a look.
All right.
Yeah, so Fern, you can see this, correct?
Yep. Yep. I'm looking at your screen right now.
All right, so we'll just zoom in and take a microscopic view of what we saw today. And you can see we just kind of traded sideways starting at about 10:40 this morning and mostly throughout the day. And then we just started to really sell off, massive sell off. So all the volume you see is just selling. And we stayed oversold throughout most of the day. Now it looks like we're pushing up. We hit a low of $8.93 just before close. After hours, we're sitting at currently right about $9.02. But not really what we wanted to
Right.
see. I do think, however, the positive to take from this is that, and I think this is actually comes from the close, but if we were to go down here, we were down at 1.17%. So I think we did enact the SSR rule for today, which means, which is a short sell rule, meaning that that you cannot short the stock on the uptick, only on the I'm sorry, on the downtick, only on the uptick. So it can kind of limit hedge funds as to how much they can short and when they can actually short. So they're not able to just constantly drive the price downs. If you were to look at level twos, and what they'll do is they'll have a, excuse me, an ask for like oh 04, oh 03, oh 02, oh 01, $9, $8, and it'll all be even amount. So it constantly just keeps driving the price down. They just kind of manually, I don't know, with a computer algorithm or something that they've got, the way that they'll set it up is it'll keep driving the price down and constantly just keep pushing that thing down. So if we look in a little bit closer, you can see that, and what's very odd, and we'll take a look over at GME here in a sec, but these two really mirrored each other, and that's pretty much just what they do. And it seems to be that they do it at the same time. Yesterday we saw it about 204, 205. Here we are again. This is at roughly the same time. Here we are at 209, and we just start to see red. And that's when we see this spike in volume where we start to see the stock get pushed down all the way down to the low of the past. Shoot, I don't even remember when it was $8.93. It's been like over 2 weeks since it's been this low. If we take a look at GME, you're going to see the same exact thing right here, right towards the end of the day, and I guarantee it's at the same exact time. Um, we're at 220 there, so actually a little bit later. It wasn't until about 245 when you see the spike in volume and they start to really sell this thing down.
Yeah, they're looking pretty similar as far as beginning of the day and end of the day, as far as opening and seeing that strong push, like if it was going to trend upwards. Um, but I mean, they both ended up just losing today. But similar charts, basically picking up in the beginning and then dropping off towards the end. It's one of those things with these meme stocks, I guess. They're just somehow they're tied in together. They kind of work opposite of the market sometimes. I know last week we had a red day in the market, yet AMC and GME were trending upwards. So it's really hard to predict. The only thing you could really do is hold. I mean, we all know that at least for AMC, it's in my opinion, I believe it's at least a $16 to $18 stock. So right now, the fact that it's at 9, to me, that just tells me to buy.
You're right on that one. I'm thinking the exact same thing. I did end up purchasing a few more shares just to kind of round me out to 300 yesterday and I believe the day before. So it's like 6 each day. And you know what? I'll just keep continuing to average up, or if we get lower than my price, I'll start averaging down. So I mean, I don't hate it. I don't like it. The last 2 weeks where we saw the run up, I was looking at my account and I'm like, man, I'm net positive over $1,000 in just like a week, which is like a trader's wet dream. But some days you have good and bad days, and right now, the unfortunate part is that to me, especially with the time frames we look at, here they are kind of side by side. Um, Almost identical. We see a little bit more of a different volume scale, but you can see almost about the same time that they just both trend downwards. And if we were to, let me just close this one back out. And we can go and look at the S&P 500 or the SPY ETF. And matter of fact, this mirrored the market as a whole today, is what it looks like to me. So kind of the same thing here. Market just about 220. Yeah, about 220. We start to see a sell-off here for the market as a whole. So not really sure what to make of it. But again, if we go back and we look, here's yesterday and today on AMC, and if you look really closely, you're going to see the same thing at the same time. This is 204 when we start to see this sell-off, and they just really push this thing down. So not as bad yesterday as what we saw today. Today it just kept diving.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like you said, it'd be a good time to put a little more in it. I mean, but I mean, realistically, the way this stock has been moving, I mean, it's been crazy. How you were saying, up $1,000 in just a week or a week and a half. I mean, it isn't really realistic. Just the fact that a lot of us at the times that we've gotten in is more than likely around $8 or so, and the gains that you've received since then, I mean, that's really good. So the fact that we went down, it's still a gain at the end of the day. And it's just to expect every day for that stock to go up to 20, or to have such a huge spike, it's not a realistic expectation. So just take the gains when they come, and the losses, they're going to come as well. It's just the stock is so volatile. It's moving so crazy. It's hard to predict. So it's just one of those things where if your attitude towards money, don't put your life savings in it. But if you have $1,000, $2,000 to spare, I definitely put it in AMC. If it's something that you could afford to lose a little bit of money, put it in there. Just don't expect by day 3 to have that Lamborghini.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. For me, this doesn't hurt me at all. I mean, of course, when I see the price of the stock, I'm kind of down a little bit. And like, man, we're something pretty good last week. Up to 14, $15, almost 15. And I thought, here we are, man. We're hitting it. We're just gonna keep pushing every week. We're closing higher and higher. Starting a few weeks ago with the battle of 801, where we closed at 801 on the dot, and after that, it was another 8, and then a 12, and then a 13. And so I'm like, all right, this week, man, we're pushing up. We're going to at least get to see 15 this week. And, healthy stocks have pullbacks. And I think that you're right. This is just one of those things where, it's a volatile stock. It's going to go up. It's going to come down. And in trading, you have to be cold. I don't think you can let your emotions run you. You have to let your brain do the thinking for you. And the D&D that we've done on this stock, and our belief that this is at minimum a $16, $17 stock, up to $20 stock, all the way up to, if we see some squeeze, who knows at that point. I mean, the ceiling is,
Right.
God, it could be anywhere. So we'll take a look, macroscopically speaking, just taking a look back at the 20-day, 1-hour time frame. And you can see that we had a good run up, and it's time for a pullback. Although this is a bit more of a pullback than what we would want to have seen. This is almost like a 100% retracement here. So we'll look for our next level of support. Looks like it could be right around $8.50, somewhere probably at $8. Who knows? I mean, we're sitting at $9 now. And I don't quite know why we bounce off of that. You can kind of see back here, this is around March 1st, where we kind of traded around that level of $9. So I'm looking for this to be the new level of support right now, at least for the time being. And God, who knows what can happen tomorrow. If we keep seeing this thing crash down, we can even go farther back and see what we're looking like here. I don't know if I have a 1-month chart, and I don't really want to do anything about it, but this is a 1 year, 1 day chart. So looking at this, I mean, and there's different perspectives when I look at some of these charts and I pull back, and maybe it looks really bad when you look at a 1 day, 1 minute, but then you go back and you look at a 3-month chart, or even a 1 year chart such as this one, and you say, well, it's really not too bad given the time. I mean, so if we were to just take a sample here And let's just say that this, although this is not indicative as to what the stock can normally do, this was a little mini squeeze right here. But what you see is that we kind of hit just a little bit below that 50% on retracement. So although that is not really telling of what we're talking about. So if we can take all of this junk out of it and use what I think that this is just an anomaly that happened. And if we were to take this and just run it up to about right here, we're still in good territory for retracement here for a bull run. You know, what we want to see is something above 50% retracement, and right now, even better, we're only at 38.2% retracement. So I'm not really worried about it. Again, it's all into perspective as what chart and what time frame you're looking at, and you know, just don't trade with your emotions. I'm holding this thing because I know the potential that it has.
Right. Can you go back to pre-COVID on this stock?
Yeah, I sure can. So here's a 3-year chart here, and I like to use this 3-year because it kind of shows what has happened over the past few years. And even if we cut out this year right here of 2020, we were trending downward just slightly, and I don't know if this was just some revenue lost. As the years increase, you know, you get HBO Max coming out, and you get Hulu and Amazon Prime and Netflix and all these things that are slowly killing the movie theater business. But I think, like the saying, you don't know what you have until it's gone, or you won't miss it until it's gone. And I think that's one thing that with the theater chains is that you really don't know how much you missed them until you didn't have them for a year. So I think it's really going to
Right.
drive interest into the theaters.
I think one of the things too is now that we have these COVID vaccines and people are getting vaccinated, people are taking they're not afraid to take these risks to go ahead and get out there. We've always had the movie theaters there, so I mean, at some point it's just there, and you don't care for it. But now that it's been there and you haven't been able to go, I do believe that as soon as these people find out that they're able to and they're a little bit comfortable, I think this year it's going to be this year carrying on to next year. We're going to see a lot more revenue with AMC, and not only AMC, but different movie theaters as well. Just because it's one of those things where now that you're able to do it again, you're going to want to, because like you said, you don't know what you have until it's gone, and since it's been gone for a while, people haven't been able to go, and especially when you see all these movies that are on the back burner waiting to get released, it's going to be a big year. It's going to be a big year. The main thing is that it might not be next month or the month after, but we all know that it's coming. So it's just one of those things to get ready for, and it wouldn't be a bad thing to invest a little bit, especially if you're comfortable with putting a little bit of money down. I only see upside here.
Yeah, I'm I'm kind of in the mindset, the same mindset as you when it comes to investing like that. Unless you're playing options or you're investing into a really risky company that's on the verge of bankruptcy, which I know at one point AMC was, but from everything that their CEO and their top execs in the company have stated is that they have enough money to keep them out of bankruptcy for I think the next 2 years. So if we take that off the table, this thing's not going to go bankrupt and it's not going to come crashing down. The way that I see it, and this is kind of maybe a simple way to look at it, and people will say this is maybe the wrong idea to go into stock trading, but and you can become a bag holder this way, but it has worked out for me quite a few times in the past, is that if you don't sell, you don't lose the money. So,
Right.
I mean, even though this is an anomaly here with AMC, if you were holding at $20, eventually it came back up. And we're seeing this rise here, and this is where I think that we still do have potential to reach this, even if it's just off of hype. I think that the potential is there, and that's actually way too high from where we're currently at. I gotta lower this thing all the way down right here. I mean, that's about 125%. So there's still a lot of upside, even if we don't hit that marker and we hit down here at 17, which is where we had traded at previously for a couple of months here, almost a whole quarter we traded before we dropped down. And I would imagine that this sell-off here was due to some financials, because it looks like we started to sell right here. This date, if I get off of this date here is April 22nd. So somewhere around April 15th right there, we start to sell off again. So probably had just a bad fourth quarter and I'm guessing they announced fourth quarter in March. So I think GME just announced fourth quarter, which seems kind of late. But who knows? That could have been the catalyst to really start driving this price down. And then looks like another quarter goes by, and they're like, all right, numbers are looking good, because here we are, summer. You got spring break, summer starting. Maybe financials start looking better. So I really think that when we're going to see this big push for AMC without a squeeze is going to be after we get Q2 results. When we get quarter two financials and even quarter three financials, I think that's when you're really going to start to see this thing kind of get a huge push. I think we're going to outperform both Q2 and Q3 financials.
Yeah, I mean it's just a matter of time. You know, it's don't expect anything out of the blue. It's possible with this stock because I mean, obviously, I mean, look at that area that you're in right now, that long green. I mean, I mean, it's just a crazy amount of gain there. So I mean, could you expect that again? Probably, but I mean, no matter what, you're gonna take some risk. So just know that, all you guys that are planning on getting in on this, know that you are gonna take some risk. There is no security, even bonds out there that are riskless. No matter what, you're gonna take some risk. So really figure out your attitude towards money, figure out the amount of risk that you're willing to take, and based off of that, then invest smart. Do it wisely and do it off of the information that's out there. And I do think that this stock is a good investment, but that's just for me myself. It's something that I believe and something I'll invest in personally. But for anybody out there that is planning on investing on this, don't just look at the memes and want to get in. Really do some research. Make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. Know that no matter what, you are going to take some risk. And once you come to accept that, then just hopefully watch the gains come in.
Yeah, and speaking of research, we will take a look over here at the Fintel. And I just updated this not too long ago. Not much has changed. Looks like the short shares availability has went up once again from 1.5 million to 1.9 million short shares available. However, the good news or the great news is that the short borrow fee rate is going up. So this thing is being heavily shorted and it's more risky to short now. And so you're starting to see this borrow fee rate rise up. I know that when GME started to squeeze, it was about 20%, and I think at one point we were up at 14 to 17 in that range. And when we started to really see a climb, so this number's been slowly climbing. And the one thing to know about Fintel is they get their information from FINRA, FINRA, and FINRA always under-reports their short volume. So even the short volume ratio is going to be a little bit less. It's probably more in the range of 20%, and that's just a guesstimate from me. But they underreport on their short volume that's being traded. So the short shares availability probably a little bit less than this. But the one key takeaway to take away from this, or key thing to take away from this, is this 4.29% short borrow fee rate. So the higher this thing climbs, the better we look for a short squeeze. We'll hop over here. I made a little chase trade today, and I'm left holding the bag over here. So we thought, this AMTX, Amethyst Incorporated, is a like a biodiesel alternative fuels company. And if we take a micro or a macro look back at their 180-day, you can see that they've just been steadily climbing down from like about, I think at 1.75 cents way back when, yeah, low of 75 cents. So they reached their high actually today. Their all-time high is $27.44. So looks like we're probably going to end up going through a pullback, maybe just a slight one over about a 3 to 5 day period. This is just at least what I'm anticipating. I did buy in today at about $26.70, as you can see here. Only 2 shares because I knew I was chasing it, and it was risky. So this was as much as I felt like I would be willing to risk, for a few days or weeks or however long I got to hold this, because I'm just going to hold this thing. So what turned into a possible scalp or day trade actually looks like it's going to be a swing trade for me. It ended off the day currently sitting at about $24.01. I think it ended at $24.07. So didn't ended up setting down, but good good things to take away is my technical analysis skills are getting a little bit better. As you can see, where I made this line back here this morning, we bounced off this line over here, this price line at $26. Not one, not two, not three, not four. Quite a few times. I mean, that we really use this level. So this is a really strong level of support. And in the future, it will become a strong level of resistance to keep our eye on. And here's one that I think you had a position in at one point, Carnival Cruise Lines. And man, did they have a massive sell-off today? I don't know if there was some bad news or what happened here.
Hmm.
But they were actually
Yeah, it is quite a drop there.
yeah, they were actually up on the day. I think at one point like $1 and a quarter. So I know when I ran a scan earlier this morning, they were a hot stock, and you can see this volume candle here for 1 minute, 1.7 million in volume to really push that
Oh
thing
wow.
up. And
Look at that last part of the day. Look at all that volume there around that drop off.
yeah,
So I wonder what time is that there?
that's right about 2 o'clock. So
2 o'clock.
yeah,
So what is that? What could have came out at 2 o'clock on them? Because that is a lot of volume all at once.
it
So
is right compared.
either we have some big companies making a lot of moves,
There
or
it
something
is.
came out.
This is it
What
right
is it?
here. At 1:14, CDC says order limiting U.S. cruises will remain in effect until November 1st.
Oh, perfect. So
Yeah,
sad because of the drop, but guess what? If you get in now, you want to make a quick buck in November, that'd be the way to go. Get in now at the low. November comes around and they authorize cruise lines to go ahead and go on again. Well, that stock's just gonna go up.
yeah, we see a massive potential. I think this thing will actually start to. Looks like it pushed down pretty hard and then hit a bottom here and just kind of trade sideways for the rest of the afternoon. I think the damage was all done within this 1 hour period here or so. Yeah, less than an hour. So I think the damage was dealt there. I don't think it's done bleeding though. But if we take a look out here at the 180-day, it's actually been on the rise. So it was probably about time for a little bit of pullback. But let's take that out of the equation here and look at the 3-year chart here. So this is where I have my price level set for this. And you can see where we start to sell off. And guess what this is? This is January 20th of 2020. It kind of pushed down, so we use this level of support. So don't worry about this sell-off here from January until we really get below this level of support here, and that is February 24th. So right as the
So around the
pandemic,
time where they closed, right?
exactly, right around the pandemic when people were getting stuck on cruise ships and cruise ships were not allowed to dock and people were dying on cruise ships, and so you can just see with every every week here, it was just pushing this thing down and down and down and down. So I do see the potential to get back where we were trading, and I'm using this baseline level here as, let's say, this is where we were trading, and this was kind of our support line. So I think that when we do start getting everything opened up and cruises are set sail again, that we will get back to this baseline. And so even from where we're sitting currently, up to just that line is 61%. So there's a huge potential for profit there. It may take all the way up until November or later. And hell, CDC
Right.
could come out and, in the middle of summer and say, hey, cruises are open. But the
Yeah, I
one,
mean, it just it depends on how these results are going with all these vaccines. But I would say if you give it a month to let it stabilize a bit, see where it's going to end up, kind of trending sideways at that point when it's done with the drop. We got to think November is still
a
a few
long
months
way.
away. So you give it a month to let it stabilize, find out where it's just going to trend on a sideways pattern, and from there it might be the time where you want to maybe think about getting in a little bit, depending on where it kind of stabilizes at.
Yeah, I think the most worrisome thing for me is the news that came out today. So I personally will not invest into this until, like you said, we see some stabilization. I want to do a deeper dive into their financials because this is bad news for the Carnival Cruise Line. I mean, the fact that they'll be shut down almost a full 2 years, that's bad. I don't know how a company can survive on that. So, this is the lines I said, and I may have to reevaluate this stock with given the news today. If this thing really, if the CDC sticks to that and we don't have cruises set to sell until after November, yeah, that could be bad news for the Carnival Cruise
Right.
Line. So I would be very wary of investing my money into this company just yet. I'd like to see some good news come out of it, and maybe the CDC reverse that decision, um, and see what happens then before I think about even putting a dollar into this. We do see that there could be potential here, but there also could be some really negative effects with the announcement today.
Right, right. I mean, it's like you said, it's you gotta kind of have to see, what's gonna kind of come from it. Can they last that long without income, or are they gonna go bankrupt? With these stimulus packages that have been coming out, have they been getting any help from that? Have they qualified for some kind of assistance since, their industry was specifically hurt by this pandemic? So it'd be a really good thing to see. It'd be one of those things where, in a month maybe or so, if it stabilizes and I have maybe $1,000 that it's just kind of sitting there, then maybe I'll put it in there and hope for some upside. And if not, worst case scenario, maybe I lose 1,000 or lose half of it or something. Definitely not something where you want to go heavy. It's just depending on whatever everybody's risk is and their feelings towards their financials or money. Make sure you make if you are going to invest, make sure it's something that is not really going to affect you that much. Because I mean, there are a lot of gray areas with this stock. There is a potential, but if we always go for that potential, we'd all be millionaires, and it just never always works out like that. So
Yeah, well said. Well said. I completely agree. Um, let's see. We'll kind of take a look back at AMC and just see where we set in the after hours market here. See if we get any big push here. And yeah, looks like volume kind of died off in the after hours, and we're just sitting kind of low. So I don't expect to see too many changes. We'll see tomorrow in pre-market what happens here. But
right,
you got to think at some point. These hedge funds who are shorting this stock, I heard something today that they shorted like 40 million shares in like one day on this stock, or over a couple of days, or a week time frame. It's insane when you have to cover those positions. Um, they're just constantly shorting and shorting and shorting
right.
this stock here, and they're digging themselves into a hole. And you're getting more. I think I saw. Jordan Belfort tweeted out something along the lines of "all my choice," which people are saying it's a coded message meaning AMC. Um, so we have some heavy hitters that are in this, and what we really need is we need a big whale to come in and kind of help
Right,
prop this thing up. The average retail investor, you know, if they're like me, I got a ton of money tied up into this thing, at least a ton of money to me. I mean, half my portfolio is probably tied up into AMC alone, or just under half. So that's a huge portion of my portfolio tied up into this thing. And every couple bucks I get, I'll drop a couple more dollars here or there when I get some dry
right.
powder. But we need, we saw the volume here. Unfortunately, it was just negative volume.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where everybody that's kind of invested in it, it's a fun stock. It's fun. It's a meme. Everybody's talking about it. If you are on any of the groups like Wall Street Bets or any kind of Facebook group, you constantly see memes coming out on this stock. That's just kind of, I think it's bringing in new investors, but it's also bringing in investors that don't really know anything about the market or haven't invested before, just because it's been so popular. So, I mean, we all try to find some meanings in some of the tweets that I've been seeing, you've been seeing. So, um, it's one of those fun stocks. It's definitely bringing in new investors. Um, same thing. I think AMC had a tweet once too, where it was talking about Wonder Woman, but somebody went in and decoded it and pretty much found out that there was some Amazonian type
Yeah.
of references. So we're all trying to find a meaning to say, that we're going to have some kind of big brother help. But at the end of the day, it's just, I mean, it's us versus the hedge funds. Their pockets are really, really deep compared to the average investor that in this case AMC being a meme stock, we got some new people that just opened up an account, put some money in, and never experienced loss, and now they're experiencing loss, and their first reaction is to sell. So we have a lot of junior type of investors that are getting in this, and it's going to be fun to see. But I mean, it's been so crazy, and I know a lot of the movement has also been in after hours, I believe.
Yes, it's been a lot of heavy movement in after hours, at least maybe more than what we see through regular hours, and maybe not so much as so much volume, but we do see a big price action of movement, even from last night to kind of where we were at this morning here. I mean, that's almost 10% of movement in pre-market this morning. So,
Wow.
you know, yeah, we do typically see that. And for anybody that's curious, right here, I still have my shares. I'm not selling out. I'm holding this thing. So I'm still holding strong. It's not much, but it's my little slice.
Yeah, I think it's just crazy to see too those types of gains and losses where, overnight you wake up and you're up 10%, or overnight you wake up
Yeah.
and you're down 15%. So this thing is definitely going off the rails. It's too hard to say where it's going to land because, I mean, if you come out on it just within the last month or so, it's been all over the place, up, down, up, down. So it's a fun stock, I believe, but it's definitely nothing that anybody should sink their life savings into, or take a second out of their home and put into this thing. So yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
going to keep losing and gaining. So it's just one of those things where if you got the money, put it in and enjoy the ride.
Hey, I'm along for the ride, man. Strap me down to this rocket and let's take off to the moon. I'm definitely not pulling out any loans to invest capital into this thing for sure. I just kind of got lucky with some positions in my portfolio that were, I made some profit. Time to pull out, and hey, the AMC meme stock stuff started happening, and I hopped on,
Right.
and 3 weeks later, I'm up, 60, 70% on my position. So, um, yeah, I'm along for the ride, the ups and the downs. I'm lucky enough that I'm still in the positive here, not by much.
Yeah.
With each day passing, I'm going down and down and down. Yeah, it looks like I'm down $486 on the day and another 600 yesterday. So, but you know what? It's a fun ride. It's got its ups and downs, and I think at the end this thing will pay off. But you know, this is money that I'm willing to lose at the end of the day. Um, and it is what it is. This is where I feel comfortable. I have this money. It's just some disposable income for me. So, you know, that's what I want to do with
Right.
it.
Yep. I'm still holding as well. And if anybody you guys know me, I don't know how to pull out, so I'm holding.
Oh yeah. The one thing I will stay away from are these options contracts that are ending on Friday. So I've been burnt twice now, 2 weeks in a row with these options. They're like we were seeing a good increase in volume and profit over the last like 3 4 weeks, and then the 2 weeks that I invest into some options are the 2 weeks I get burned. So uh, I'll just
What's that movement going on right now at the after hours? Whoa, we got a lot of. Oh no, it's not too much.
yeah. When we zoom in, it doesn't look like it's too much, but we can see here after we hit this low, um, up about 4.5% from our low point. So little swing here, kind of sitting back to
Right.
where actually just above where we were at. Um, no, not that. I'll just set a
Yeah, because
price
we
on it
closed
here.
at what did we close at? Was it 8? Were we in the
Uh,
eights
I,
already?
I think we closed at 902. So I think up here,
I know
I
too.
think my
Oh, I see it.
yeah, I think it stays at the close, and then it looks like currently we're at 915. So
Yeah. Okay, and that's your 1 minute chart.
yeah, this is on the 1 minute, 1 day, 1 minute, the intraday. So I like this just because you can see the action. I probably should have a 1 minute or a 1 day 5 minute chart set up so I can also take a look at that, or even a 15 minute, just so you can see the swing of things. But um, sometimes it's boring. You're sitting there and the chart doesn't move for 5 minutes. I mean, it gets kind of old. So I like the
Yep.
1 minute, but yeah, it looks like we're actually seeing some buying power starting to reach oversold territory here on the RSI. Um, these lines here on the MACD, our blue line did cross over the yellow line, representing some buying power stepping in and starting to reach a little bit of oversold. So we'll see what happens. I would expect a little bit of a pullback here, but you never know. Maybe we're getting some pressure in here. Volume looking a little bit low, only about 73,000 in this current minute.
Right.
Um,
I'd be curious to see pretty much at open where we're gonna move from here, because seems like historically, at least for the last month or so, most of this movement has came in the after hours. So hopefully we keep trending upwards after hours, and we open up a lot higher than what we closed at.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think we're going to see a huge swing in the after hours and early in the pre-market tomorrow. Um, go back here. So I think that's about all we can really say about AMC for the most part. Just kind of do your own due diligence. D&D. We'll just keep it short. D&D. That way I don't get tongue tied. I think you just do your own D&D, and if you feel convicted in your heart that this is a play for you, then hey man, don't put anything more than you're willing to lose. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just purely for entertainment and speculation and fun, and just for me trying to learn and to bring you guys out there who watch, all one or two of you people, to see the journey of my progression through day trading and swing trading. So. Anything you want to say, Fern, before we hop off here for the day?
No, no. I mean, just how you said, just kind of everybody makes their own decisions on what they're willing to do financially. Thanks for having me on. Hopefully, I'll be on some other streams with you. But
Yeah,
yeah, thanks for the invite.
yeah, I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to plug while you're here? YouTube channel or something?
Yeah, it's the X Ram on YouTube. So anybody that's curious to see any of my videos, I'll be going ahead and putting some more videos up. A lot more towards gaming. Any Tarkov fans out there, I'll make some videos of that. But yeah, it's the X Ram on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll plug it into the description on the video. With that being said, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and see you on the moon.